Hey, what is happening? Ted Rankin here. So today is the day we're finally going to get that K-Member put in, the new one I got from Maximum Motorsports. I am pretty far along in this project already because I had the K-Member from BMR suspension, the KM744, which didn't work out. So I already have a lot of my suspension and everything pulled out of the way. I'll go back over that quickly as we get underneath the car and look at the K-Member coming out. I've got the stock one put back in right now just to hold everything in place. So I'll do a review back over on that. I won't show taking it all apart because it's already done. And we'll just dive right into it. I'm really excited about this. Happy to get the car back going out on the road, just do some, back road bombing around for now until, get out to the track. So hold tight and we'll get ripping into this now. Let's go ahead and start getting this set up for the engine support. Okay, so engine support's in, and I already have the motor mount bolts out from when I had this apart before, so I'm just going to put a couple extra turns on this thing to make sure I've got a little bit of tension taken off of the K-Member, and I also want to make sure that I've got it lifted up just, not lifted up, but just all the tensions off of the K-Member. Alright, that'll do it. I'll get the car lifted up and we'll drop the stock K-Member down, and then we'll see where we need to go from there. Here's where I picked up the location for the chain on the driver's side. It's just one of the the timing gear cover bolts right down there. And then because I've got the Kenny Bell supercharger, I removed the top plate and I'm just picking up on two of the spots here on the adapter. All right, let's get the car up in the air a little bit higher so we can get some action underneath here. For a quick recap of what I did previously is I was able to leave everything assembled because I have the coilovers, and if you have the stock set up with the coil springs, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to have to take everything apart. But because I have the coilovers, I was just able to get under here and undo the steering rack, and then undo the control arms, and then just pull everything up out of the way. I'm gonna have to, it just dawned on me, because I'm changing my control arms, I'm gonna have to, I guess what I'll do is I'll put the K-Member in first. I'll just put the control arms, I'll just run some bolts in there so I can unbolt everything, and then I'll just assemble it, because these have to come out. This has to come out and has to get the new ones put in. So that's what I'll do. It'll be kind of not optimum, but hey, so what. All right, hold tight. We'll we'll get this K-Member dropped out. Just a sec. What I'm going to do now is just take my transmission jack, slide it underneath the K-Member, put a little tension on it, and then I'll undo the bolts, and that'll carry the weight, and then I'll just be able to drop it down. Now I can pull the bolts from the top. There's two up here, and then the two down here. On each side, just pull those out, and then I can kind of balance with one hand and drop this thing down at the same time, and the whole K-Member will drop down. So I'll pull these out, and then we'll drop her down. Top bolts are 18s, back bolts are 15s. Just see that. Just see that K-Member just move a little bit. All right, on to the other side. Same thing, rinse and repeat. Okay, bolts are out. Now, we'll just drop her down. Should be clear of everything. I don't think we're gonna have any snags or hang-ups, so. All right, let's see how it goes. Right, looking good. Okay. That's that. She's down. All right, I've just run into a little bit of a hiccup when I installed these headers. When I did the other K-Member, these are the BBK shorties, and on the opposite side they have a fixed bolt, if you will, and on the stock header collector, you're able to screw, if I remember right into the collector. And what they've done here is they've got these two bolts. You can't even see this back one. And the problem is, I was gonna do this before, is that if I go to take these off in the future, there's no way to hold this top nut. I mean, you can't even get back to it. I'm trying to reach my hand back up in there. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna pull this exhaust off, and then I was gonna put a nut back here on both sides. So I'd have fixed bolts. And then when I go to do my exhaust in the future, which I will be doing, I'm dropping this engine out sometime this spring. I'm building an engine for it right now. I'm gonna have to also be doing some transmission work. The whole thing's coming out again. So anyway, it'll just be much easier if I make this one solid mount rather than having this thing, you know, have to get up here with a wrench and hold it and everything. All right, so let me run to the hardware store. I got to take care of that before I put the K-Member in. With the K-Member in here, it's gonna be bad. If you guys have done your exhaust before, you know it's tight already, and now's the time to do this. So hold tight, we'll get right back to you. Well, sometimes things just happen, right? And they suck up the time that you had allotted to do other things. Anyway, so, you know, off topic of the K-Member install, what I ended up doing was putting a nut underneath here, because the way this is set up, there's the bolt, and you can't hardly even see the one in the back there. And to get to it, if the K-Member was in here, I mean, you can't get up behind there. So what I did is I put a nut underneath here, and I ended up having to get a half thickness nut for each side, or else it would hit the flange here, which was something to find a half size nut. So lock nut, lock washer, half nut, and then this. And then the back one, for some reason, the one that's all the way back up in there, it must have a little bit of weld slag or something, because it kept wanting to point out, you know, it wanted to point away. So what I ended up having to do was get my you know, grinder out and grind out those holes to give it a little bit more of wiggle room. And I did go ahead and throw some anti-seize up there just in case I ever wanted to get these back off. You know, I don't know how long it'll last or what, but this stuff will rust up good and fast, as you know, this hardware. So maybe when I go to take these off in the future, they will just be completely rusted solid and snap off, who knows. But anyway, that's my plan. So now I can at least just you know, just do these, you know, like I normally would, without having to hold anything up here. That was that, and that took about, well, too many hours. So now I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting my exhaust in while I have everything. So while this is still a little bit loose, I can get everything positioned, and that will eat up the rest of my day. And then tomorrow I can finish with the K-Member install, because obviously there is no K-Member in here at all. I'm going to start positioning the K-Member to get it loosely mounted up to the frame, and then we'll do the squaring. It's a lot windier today, so hopefully the audio doesn't get all messed up. So let's get going on this. Should go pretty quick. There is a ground strap right here. It said so in the instructions, and I forgot to take it out, so we'll pop that out really quick. Swing that up out of the way. Put this little screw somewhere where I will instantly forget where I put it. And then this should be able to swing up. Should be able to. Swing up. And not pinch that brake line, hopefully. Or, yep, brake line. And what is going on up there? There we go. Just gonna throw one of these bolts in really quick. Just a couple of turns just to hold it in place while I get the other side of the line. So I've got the motor mount stud lined up here. I'm going to want to make sure that I'm careful with the brake lines up front before I tighten anything down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And what you're going to see here is there's 3 brake lines, and we're going to want to make sure we don't pinch them, crush them with the K-Member. So let me see if I can do this without completely obstructing your view. That is a mess. Okay, hold up. Got to check this out and see how to address this. This is a little bit of a thing here. So this is the passenger side, and I'm sorry about the wind noise, but what I ended up having to do was undo the brake line here and then pull this back, push these lines as far forward as I could, and then pull these down as far as I could. I'll tuck them back up as best I can. The way that this K-Member is set up, normally you would have your standard sway bar connector connecting whatever it's called, but I have these Steeda mounts, and I don't know if you can see that, but that's the K-Member, and then here's my Steeda solid mounting, and those brake lines are going to have to be tucked down underneath the K-Member. So once this is all bolted up, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll see how well I can get these brake lines all tucked back up. But that was a little bit of doing there, and then let's see what the other side looks like. I had to undo everything I did over there, so let's do a quick little peek. And then the same thing goes over here. I undid this, and that'll allow me to slide the K-Member up underneath, up over the top of the brake line. I have to do my steering, my connecting rod for my steering. And then the other thing I'm noticing is the way my clutch cable, can you see that? There's my clutch cable. I'm not sure how well that's gonna do.
I guess it's all right. It kind of, try to get my hand out of the shots. I think it'll be all right. I had to bend that out of its normal position for the headers. Oops, for the headers. So let me kind of fiddle around with this and get you back up on the tripod. Maybe we can progress here with some expedience. What I'll do is I'll just throw a bolt in, each spot. I'll do one back here, one up here, just to get this side kind of locked into place. We'll go around to the other side and we'll do the same thing, and then we can start tightening it up. This job is really best done if you have a couple of people, but I don't, so I'm doing it solo, and that's what you got to do sometimes. You just got to figure it out. So here we go. Okay, so just enough to get the thing kind of stabilized and locked into place. We'll go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Let's see if we can do the same thing here. Okay. Keeping a mindful eye on this brake line. This is going to be interesting to see how well I can get these brake lines back to their normal position, and it doesn't look very good. I don't know. Alright, we'll mess with that in a minute. Alright, so let's see. Let's get the rest of these bolts up. Let's make sure, before I get committed to this, that I can drop my steering column back down. You pinned up there, son of a gun. Come on, really? Okay, well. Alright, well, all I have to do is loosen it up a little bit and then drop down, I think. All right, now. Man, I don't like those brake lines like that. Just watching this brake line. Alright, we'll just leave that loose for now. The back ones are going to stay loose. Just leaving it, just ever so slightly loose for right now so we can see what's going on with the other side. Let's do the same thing here. We'll just get this started. Man, I am really concerned about these brake lines. I mean, they're rubbing right up on this K-Member. With vibration, that is definitely not optimum. I don't know why it's so tight. I'm not sure how I'm gonna deal with this. I think what I might end up doing is re-drilling this hole, being able to get this back as far as I can, because I can't use this. I can't use this hole anymore. The existing holes. There's the locator hole, and then there's the screw hole. So I guess what I'll do is I'll maybe use the existing screw hole as the locator, and then move that forward. At least it'll be something. Or maybe I have to drill a whole new set. I don't know. It is suboptimal for sure. And then these lines, I don't know. I mean, once I get that all put back together, if I push this back up to the frame where it was, these are going to be pulling right up on there. Obviously, I can't leave this sticking out, right? I mean, can you guys see that? See what I'm talking about? No, you can't. Hold on. This right here. So these lines normally are pushed all the way up against the frame. Right now I have them pulled all the way out like this to get me the clearance I needed up front. So what? Drill this out and move it forward. I guess. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. This has to, you know, that's just a rivet. I can rivet it back in. You know, I got that. I can do that again, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's gotta come forward, because it can't rest on the K-member like that. Not with driving around and vibration. And I don't want my brake lines rubbing like that. Okay, we can get there later. Fine, that'll be my plan. I'll relocate these brackets. That's all I'm gonna do. Easy, done, settled. Just getting this a little bit like I did on the other side, just to leave it a little bit of clearance, just to kind of mess around with it a little bit more before I commit. These back ones are just going to stay loose, because I still have to get in there and square this up. So the K-member is in. So let's move on with this thing. Start doing some measurements, and we'll see how it goes. Let's move on to the squaring of the K-member now. First thing you need to do, and I skipped this part, but you'll understand what I'm talking about, I hope, is that you need to get a pickup point back here. And what Maximum Motorsports recommends is that you use the forward mounting position. Can you see that? On the lower control arm. So throw a string over that, and then what you'll do is you'll let your plumb bob drop down, and you'll make a mark here like that, and then you'll do the same on the other side. Make sure that your string is in the same orientation, and then you'll come up to the front and you'll do 2 plumb bob marks up here as well. There's these 2, and then on the front they've provided these little holes here. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do a measurement just front to back, and you're going to make sure that the left side and the right side are the same distance. And if they're not, then what you do is you take up here, so whichever side is the the shorter, you're going to undo both of these bolts. You're going to loosen both bolts up. And then on the opposite side, the side that you want to match, you leave just the rear one tightish enough that you can use it as a pivot, right? So you'll just use that as the means to move the other side forward a little bit. So I'll quickly get some measurements here, and then we'll see how I end up on the, at least on the front to back, and then we'll work on the side to side. I've got my two measurements. The driver's side ended up at 75.5, and my passenger side ended up at 75.25. And I don't think I'm gonna be able to get, maybe I'll get a 1/4 inch if I can get this. I don't know if I can get a shot back here. I don't know if I've got a 1/4 inch to go before hitting my solid mount. I'll give it a shot. It doesn't have to be much. I'll give it a whack and see what happens here really quick. Okay, never mind moving this forward. My brake lines are so tight up against this that that is not the way to go. So what I'll do is I'll move the driver's side back. That's fine. Hold tight. I've got both sides measuring exactly 75 inches from the rear to the front, and now I'll move on to my cross measurements from back passenger to front driver, and then back driver to front passenger. We'll see what those numbers are, and then hopefully they're within some reasonable 1/16 of an inch, and then I can finish bolting this thing up and move on to putting my new control arms on and make a plan for that. Everything's squared up now. I just went back and checked my distances front to rear to make sure that nothing moved. So front to rear, I am 75.5 on both sides, and then from corner to corner, I am 83.5. The thing that I ran into was I took my measurements and then I was a little long on one side, so I needed to move the passenger towards the driver. What Maximum Motorsports would have you do before you do that is they give you these little angle irons, these little angles, these little blocks, I guess, these stops. And they're supposed to go between the front of the K-Member and in between where where your sway bar would mount, your sway bar mount is. But again, since I've got these aftermarket guys from Steeda, there's no room to get this in there. So I just had to MacGyver it. So I had to knock it back. You know, I had to knock the K-Member back, check my distances again, kind of had to just, it took longer than it should have, is the bottom line here. So anyway, so it's all squared up. I'm going to torque these down final, and then, you know, I'll finish putting the rest of the stuff together. You know, get my motor mounts tightened down. I'll get the steering rack all bolted back up, and then what I'm gonna have to do on this is I'm gonna have to temporarily swing my control arm back in here, just pin it in place so I can drop it back down, drop that thing out of there. It's gonna be, you know, gonna be a little moving backward to go forward. It is what it is. All right, so that's that for right now. I had to take a little bit of a break. I'm pretty worked up. I was doing the final install
after getting the K-Member squared and started just doing the first simple step of putting the bolts back onto the motor mount studs. Sorry, putting the nuts back on the motor mount studs. And the Prothane stud just snapped right off. The Haynes manual calls out 95 to 126 foot-pounds. The factory spec from the service manual, the factory service manual, is 111 pounds. And I had my torque wrench set to 95 as per the Maximum Motorsports instructions as well. And this thing just snapped right off. You can see that it's, let me see if I can get it to focus. Just like, I don't know, pot metal. I don't know. So here's the other part of this deal. So I called Prothane. They've got a lifetime warranty on their part, which is fantastic. But they have to send me new plates. They're going to send me new upper plates because these are modular. The bottom part and the top part separate. But they're not going to be here for a couple of days. And then I got thinking about it. I don't know if I want to run them. So I thought maybe I'll just get some new factory Ford. They'll be a little bit softer, but so what? And you know what? You can't get a whole set. Not from the local dealer anyway. I had to go to two different sources. I think I got one from CJ Pony Parts and the other one from American Muscle. But apparently there's a shortage on motor mounts. Which, and as an aside, I'm also building that engine. I can't get the crank bearings that I want. They're 8 weeks back ordered from King. It's a crazy time, man. Anyway, that's the update. So I'm going to be offline for a little bit. I'll probably go ahead and do the relocation of the brake lines. Like I had mentioned earlier, you know, I'll get something done. Maybe I'll capture that on film. But man, I'm disappointed about this. This really just is not cool. Can I get a better shot of that thing? Oops. Yeah. And then this, of course, just snapped off. Back on with the hood. Motor mounts delayed. Rain on the way. Someday we'll get this finished. And here's the rain. It'd be like this for several days. Might be a opening tomorrow, and it's supposed to be 46 degrees. There she is. So hurry up and wait. Man. The good news is the rain is past. The bad news is it is like 40 degrees out. It looks like a nice sunny day, but it is not. And it's got a bit of a breeze to it. So we'll see how long I can hang out here with this. I do not do good with the cold. I'm wearing long johns. I've got 2 shirts on. I've got my working under the car sweatshirt on, and it's gonna rain again tomorrow, so we need to get back to this. All I have to do is do the motor mounts, relocate the brake lines, and then everything else, the suspension. I waited until it got as warm as I think it's gonna get today. It's about noon, so I'm probably gonna have 4 hours of maybe good workable weather. And the way the sun's gonna come around, I'm under my nice favorite shade tree, which today is not a good thing. So we'll see how far we get. Got to pull the hood back off, got to put my engine brace back up, got to drop the K-Member back down, got to do everything back over to replace that broken motor mount. I've opted to go back to factory Ford. They'll be a little bit softer than the Prothane that broke, but I just don't want to have to deal with those things again. Maybe I'm being a little paranoid, overly cautious, but you know what? I know the factory Ford ones are fine, and they're not going to be that squishy that it's going to make a difference. They ended up being about the same. I even paid to have them express shipped here, and then it rained. So I paid for express shipping probably for nothing, and so now I'm into these things for as much as a new set of Prothanes would have cost. But yeah, no, I'll put those back together with the new studs, the top plates, and I'll put them up for sale. You know, somebody will be happy with them. So let's get going on this, starting over again. It's like I said, it's cold, and of course the ground is still damp from the rain being here in the shade, so I'll try to get some thermal insulation somehow. I've got some old bubble wrap, bumper bubble wrap when they ship that stuff from the factory, and it's nice and thick, and I can double it up, and that helps a little bit. I've got some old cardboard that I can throw down, because sitting on the cold concrete, you guys know, man, it'll just chill you. It's like sitting on an ice cube. All right, wish me luck. We'll dive back in, and let's try to get this thing done. I've gone ahead and made my marks for moving this brake line down, very unscientifically, mind you. So I'm going to drop this down to there. So there's the main bolt hole, there's the locating hole, and then I'll end up with something like, let's see if I can get this lined up, like that. So kind of between the sway bar mount and the K-Member, because remember, I'm going to be taking this thing back out, you know, to do the new motor. So if I can have these out of the way and just be able to have everything drop in and out without having to fight the brake lines, that would be awesome. So I will go ahead and do a center punch on that and that. I'm gonna drill that a little undersized, and then you can see that's a little oversized, just so you can locate this thing, you know, back and forth. So we'll do this, and then we'll go to the other side and do the other one. I want to do this now before I drop this out. Just get it out of the way. Everything's already bolted up. May as well do it while I've got it. So we'll get you up on the stand again and see if we can get some shots of this happening. So I'm only going to take this down to 1/4, and we'll see how that does, and then we'll size it up. And then this one I'm going to go ahead and punch up to I think that's a, what, 5/16, something like that. So anyway, so this is going to look like that, and let me see if we can't get this thing started to thread. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do this first. Let's see if I can't get it to thread, you know, ahead here. Let's see what size this is. Let's see if we can't get this to kind of do a self-tap here. That is really,
About as good as I could ask for. That is good. I'm really pleased with that. Cool. I did some digging through my wonder bucket of bolts. Here's that kind of self tapper that goes in the forward brake line. Can you see that? And so I need one for that bracket that I'm going to relocate to the back. And I didn't have exactly the same bolt, but I did find something that's close. It's got the tapered front, so it'll do some kind of a self tap. The major diameter appears to be the same, so I think I can get away with doing a quarter hole on each side, 1/4 inch. I'll throw some calipers on there to see how far I'm off. I don't want to bind it up. I don't know what the minor diameter is, but we'll make it work. I think that'll do in a pinch. So I measured up the bolts and they are almost exactly the same. One measured like 301 and the other one was like 308 or something. So certainly within the margin of error there, should be fine. So let's start with this front set of holes here. We'll do the exact same thing with my unscientific measurements. Let's see if we got enough battery. Nope. Okay. Okay, so this one's just going to go to the 1/4 mark as well. Okay. Same thing as before. Pop this up here. We'll just get her started. And that is looking good. Okay. Aha. Well, that's something I did not take into account, is that the can you still see this bracket over here? You see that? That is not big enough for the bolt, so we need to open that up. And I wonder if I can do that without destroying the bracket, the line, or myself. Wow, well, that was much easier than I thought. That fits like a charm. Sweet deal. All right. Maybe bend that around a little bit more up front, if that's possible. But I think that'll be okay. All right. Not factory, but you know, it's all right. Let's see how it looks. So I still have some play back here. Really couldn't go much farther forward, but now I have these lines moved down because, gosh darn it, I'm not going to be able to get that Not well anyway. Let's see if I can. Nah, I can't because I got too much stuff in the way. Yeah. Maybe from back here I can get the a little bit better. So you can still see that these are a little tight against there, but at least they're down from up top. I've got some clearance, a little bit of clearance, and I might be able to manipulate that a little bit more. Can I get a shot of that? That's what it is for now. Since I've gone ahead and finished up relocating those brake lines, I'm gonna bring the K-Member back down and do those motor mounts. I'm not gonna bother filming that for you. It's, you know, it's motor mounts, who cares? That's just gonna eat up some time. And then I've already shown you the squaring, so I'm not gonna bother showing you all that again. That's just a huge waste of your time. And I'm gonna try to move fast now. It's still only 46. I know there's some of you out in the Midwest, or I don't know, just not that far away from where I live here in California, that are saying 46, that's crazy warm. But listen, for me, 46 is cold, and with the breeze, you know, I'm a wuss. What can I say? So so until I get to a point where we can get back to you know, something that's meaningful to this project, that you know, that has to do with the K-Member, I'm gonna just leave you on park for now, and then once I get back to putting the steering rack back in, putting the control arms back in and that stuff, we'll pick back up there. But for right now, I'm gonna hustle and try to get something done here. Hold tight, man. We'll be back in a little bit. Hey man, so we have gotten back to square one. So the K-Member's back in. That's just sitting there. It's been dropped. The chain's been dropped. The new motor mounts are in. They're all torqued the way they should be. No drama. I went back to the factory Ford motor mounts. K-Member's all torqued down and squared and torqued down in that order. Brake lines are all in their new positions. I might throw some rubber insulator hose around that, something. I got to take a better peek at it in the morning with some more light. It's getting dark here and it's getting colder, so I got to wrap this up. It doesn't look like the rain's going to move in until about 2 o'clock tomorrow, so I can button that up. I'll just leave the hood off for tonight, and we'll get back to it. But you know, just like every other project, you got your tools and stuff spread out everywhere. But I'm gonna go in and get warm, and then I can work tomorrow on the we'll start working tomorrow on the lower control arm stuff, and hopefully we will put this baby to bed, and you know, I don't know, maybe take it out for a rip. Who knows what the alignment's going to be like. Maybe I won't. I'll probably just drive it to the alignment shop, so wait till maybe Monday or something like that. But so there we are, one full afternoon. So it's 5 now. I started at about noon, so 5 hours going backwards to go back forward. And whew, you know how it is, man. Sometimes it's just like that. So we'll get back on this tomorrow. So my one-day jobs turned into, I don't know, what am I on now? Day 4? I don't know, man. So hold tight until next time. We'll just hang it there for now. Here we are, day number, who knows. So I've got a lot to do today. I've got to get the old lower control arms off the front. So it means I have to kind of bolt them back up temporarily, take them back off. Got to bolt the
Got to bolt the steering rack back up. I don't know, I'm just not feeling it today. It's colder than it was yesterday, it's windier than it was yesterday. You know, just getting a little burnt out, didn't sleep very well. So anyway, I gotta kind of get my stuff together here and figure out how I'm gonna attack this. I think maybe I'll button up the steering rack first. I've also got to do another little step. I've got to, on the tie rod ends, there's the boot on the steering rack that goes over the tie rod. Well, I'd replaced one with a Moog from Rock Auto or something, I don't know, a while back, and then just moving the thing around here, it's just split to pieces. So got to replace that. So I'm just going to replace both of them, may as well. What the heck, everything's got to be realigned anyway. So anyway, all right, let me figure out what my real plan is here and we'll get moving along. Hold tight. Here we go. So I've got the old control arm just up in there, not bolted up to anything, just the bolts through there, hold it in place. We will pull the caliper off. There's the strut mounts. Pull those off. First, we got to pull the caliper off, upper and the. I know you can't see that. Hold on. Upper, lower. Pull the caliper out of the way. Loosen this up. Loosen up the tie rod. So the tie rod, pull that out. So essentially, the whole knuckle's coming off, right? I mean, it has to. No way around it. So that's what we're doing. Did the same thing over there, just got it pinned up. You know, just holding it in place. So that's it. Tear all this apart. Get these calipers out of here. Bang. On its way. So we're making some progress here. Just got most of the front end pulled apart and just got myself a nice cup of hot coffee because it's cold, and I swear to God, it looks like the rain's coming in. It wasn't supposed to rain till 3. It's not even noon. It's, I don't know, 1/4 or something like that, but it really looks like it's gonna start raining. That'll suck if it does. Let's see if I can give you a quick little tour of what we've got going on here. Set this down. And we'll get you off the stand really quick. Here's where we stand now. I've got the steering knuckle all broken free. I've got the tie rod all broken free. Calipers hanging out of the way. So I can I can pull this off. The sensor here, I've been pulling out to clean up. Can you see all that magnetic garbage on there? Little stuff. So what can happen is if that grows, this is a great time to clean it. It'll look like a short to your control module. So I'm gonna clean it up while I can. It's all apart. The other thing I wanted to share is that when you're doing these things, instructions will tell you to beat on it, you know, beat on this to loosen it up, or to beat on the tie rod end. Man, don't do that. Just get one of these. Let's see, I don't even know if I can make that. That's what, a 25262, and I think maybe it's a 4-inch or something. I don't know, 3-inch, but it's perfect. Just use this and it pops right off, and you don't have to beat the snot out of the stuff. And then for the tie rod end, same thing, just grab one of these. This happens to be what, 25 to 97. Fits perfectly on there. Give it a couple cranks with your impact, or you know, tighten it down until it pops, and much easier, much faster, much cleaner. So all right, that's that. I'm going to pull this apart and then start reassembling with all the new lower control arm, and try to get going, because man, it is looking gray. It is looking like she wants to rain. And I've got all of my junk out here, so got to move fast, but got to move smart. Don't want to leave anything not quite right. So there we are. We'll check in a minute. Gonna insert the Delron bushings into the control arm now. And hey, a quick tip on this Prothane stuff. The way to get this off is Gojo. You gotta have Gojo or something like that. Regular soap and water, it just won't cut it. But I'm telling you, that Gojo stuff cuts through it, no problem. So I'm gonna grab a couple of those bushings and make this hopefully go really fast. Just put the whole thing in the freezer, so hopefully the box keeps it like a little ice chest there. And that one goes right in. Come on. That one goes right in. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. This one does not want to play. Let's see if we can get another one in. All right, there's that one almost. Yeah, this one does not want to play. Let's see if I can get him. He's kind of in a little bit crooked. There he goes. See if I can tap that out. Just be gentle with it. There. It's just a little bit crooked. Ah, run away. Nope, I'm gonna. All right, this one gets wiped off. 3 out of 4 is not bad. I'll freeze these up just a little bit more, but you get the idea. I'll do the same thing with the other side. On the metal side, you just lube it all up and not putting anything on this side. And then once it's all together, we'll lube up the ID of this thing, and then we'll slide our appropriate tubes in there and start bolting her back up. Making some progress, but it is slow going. I got both of the control arms in, torqued down. I've got the steering rack back up in there. I had to replace that boot, the passenger side boot. It was torn to pieces. That one over there is fine, so I just left it. I bought one for it. I'm just cold and running out of time, so this side's a little bit farther behind, but I've almost got this side pretty close to buttoned up. I'm not going to get it done tonight, so yet another day. Well, that's it for this progress report. I'll probably work on it for about another hour or something, but until either the rain starts or the sun goes down. I made it as far as I can make it. I've lost the sun, but so this side's pretty much done. I just have to put the caliper back on, and I think I'm at the same place over here. Just have to put the caliper back on. Everything's torqued back up. Everything's where it should be. I mean, I got so close, but you know, I got a little bit set back. Just doing the boot on the steering rack. And what else? I don't know. It just all seemed to take so much longer than I thought it would. I don't know what happened, man. Got the hood on just for good measure to keep the water out, and tools are all kind of just picked up and thrown in a pile because it started raining, and it is gonna rain. If you can tell by those clouds over there, it already has. It's heading this way, and I got drips hitting on me now. So that's where she stays. That's what's happening now. I don't know when I'm gonna get back on it. I think it's supposed to rain for the whole next week. Rain, rain, go away. This sucks. Oh, good to put oil in it. Looks all dry in there. It is sloppy, man. Here we go. Back on it. I think today we will be able to finish this thing up. It's been a week. It rained all week solid, and it's still pretty damp on the ground, but the sun is out, and I'm going to try to capitalize on the window of opportunity we have. At least it's not too cold. It's I don't know, 50 something, so you know, not bad at all. I might take about an hour to just go back through and sort out all my tools. When I finished up with our last shot last week, I literally grabbed everything grabbed everything I could before the rain came, and I just put it in a pile, which is not normally the way I do things, but I was just so done, so cold and so over it, that I just grabbed everything I could, and just, you know, the rain was coming down. So that's it. All I have to do today is put the caliper back on, and my brake ducting. Let's see, what else do I have? So I've got to put my brake ducting back up, get my calipers back on, and I think that's it. Oh, well, then I have to everything under the hood. I've got my strut brace and my intake and all that stuff has to go back in, so we'll do that. So it should be all doable today, I think, and then maybe get it back down on the ground. I've got to run up to the store and get some more oil. I know I don't have enough here. I put in that new oil pan, and so I got to get at least 8 quarts of oil, and that's it. Let's get going. Getting ready to install the end links, and what I'm going to try to do is get just a little smear of the Prothane super grease. I've got a 14-ounce tube loaded up in here, but just try to get a little bit on here, just to you know, get rid of that you know, that polyurethane can do, that squeaking. But as you know, doing these end links is a little bit of a, I don't know, it's like herding cats or playing Jenga or something, because you got, you know, you got to get the top one in, and then you got to get the next thing on, and you got to get the spacer in, and then the whole bottom set on, and so, you know, which is in itself not a big deal, but if you got that super grease on everything, it just gets, it's just tacky and gross. So let's see how it goes. You know, I I've not done this before, and I don't know why I'm doing it this time. But hey, it's an experiment. Let's see how it goes. So let's see how this goes. All right, and it would have been nice if I'd brought a paper towel or a rag or something. All right, hold tight there and we'll see how the install goes. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see once I get assembling this, because my elbow is probably going to be stuffed in the way. Here's the deal. So I've messed around with this for just a little bit, and I couldn't get the lower bushing to fit with the bolt. Just doesn't seem long enough, and it wasn't. So there's the one on the, let's see, it's my left. It's what, maybe a ½ inch shorter, quarter inch shorter. But anyway, that's the deal. So I've got this side, I've got the driver's side just loosely hooked up. I'll move to the other side before tightening everything up, just so I have some space over there to work. So it's kind of just rinse and repeat. This is okay. That grease is a little, kind of gets around. And I am certain when I go to take this apart the next time, I'm going to say, why in the world did I put this Prothane grease on here? Because it is, man, it is snicky. It is sticky like monkey snot. I mean, it's just, Anyway, that's it for now, and then we'll catch you on the next step. Here we go. Things are looking good. Got the calipers back on. Got the end links all installed. Got my brake duct all kind of zip tied in. Yeah, if you guys have ever done that before, it is what it is. Let's see. I'm gonna have to adjust my tie rod ends down. They're adjustable, of course. That's why you have them. But I'm gonna get the car under load, and then I'll drop those down to get those at the right angle. And then I'll have to do the, I'll have to see how they look. But yeah, it's all together. So I'll just finish this up. This is all done. Same thing. We'll drop her down. My rotors are nice and rusted and gross, so that's cool. Yeah, that's it. We'll get her back down on the ground, but the rest of it is all under the hood. Just got to get the got to get my strut tower brace back in, got to get my clean air intake back in, all that stuff. Believe it or not, that all had to come out just to do the headers, but hey, whatever. So that might be it for about now, and maybe we'll follow up with a quick little after epilogue. How about that? So a couple of thoughts after getting the job done here is that if you're going to do this, it's not going to take you as long as it took me. I had a lot of other stuff going on. I had the old K-Member that had to come back out, and then I had to drop it again that second time because of the broken motor mount. I took more time finessing my brake lines around. I don't think you'd probably have to do that. It's up to you. You know, and it's just me. I just work by myself. I don't, if you had a buddy with you doing this, you know, lifting stuff into place and moving things around, it'd probably go faster. But I would say, you know, a weekend, you know, maybe a couple days straight. I only work, you know, like from noon to till the sun goes down, something like that. So I didn't really press it. But, you know, we'll find out if it's worth it sooner or later. I've got some thoughts about, you know, the bump steer. So I put the lower control arms in the highest position the K-Member offers, and now I have a fantastic angle on those. But my bump steer kit is just not going to cut it. I have the taper bolt style, and because of the angle of the control arms now, I'm going to have to get the bolt through. And I'll show you in a minute. I'll flip this around so you can see. So here's what I was talking about. So the bump steer on this thing is, you know, kind of not looking good. So there is the tie rod end back here, my adjustable tie rod end, and you can see I've got that adjusted all the way down. I've got all the spacers, and I've almost run out of room. And as a starting point, you're going to want the that shaft, the steering rod right there, steering shaft, whatever, to be about parallel with the control arm. And a couple things you can do: you can get the adjustable end links and drop that down. You can also go and get the steering rack moved up. And right now I've got mine, I don't have the adjustable ones. I just have the center through. And the issue I think I have is you can get maybe another 1/4 inch up, so you would move that up, right? You'd move your rack up a little bit. And the issue I have is I don't think I've got enough room between my rack and, I can't get it, between the rack and the oil pan. That's not a good shot, I'm sorry. So you move the rack up and you move these down, and then that gets that geometry to kind of get level with the control arm. So I'm gonna have to mess with that, but that's where that's at. I can't get a good shot, too much junk in the way, but that's that. That's it. I think that's it. A long video. You know, it just turns in, these things just sometimes turn into more than you wanted to. I'm not very good at cutting out the unimportant stuff. There's people that are on YouTube that are really good at that, but I'm not. You know, I'm just a guy. So if you want to see stuff that I'm buying for my new project coming up, if you just want to see things that are kind of going along with this, I post up on Instagram. You can look at that at Silver GT1. That's Silver GT and the number 1. You know, and that's it. It's just fun. It's just games. It's all good. So until the next time, have a good time and keep on wrenching.